change my YouTube group to Chabad of YouTube. I thought about it. Every single video I'm doing is just a way to the Baal Shem Tov asks when Mashiach is going to come. I think he asked Hashem when Mashiach is going to come. I'm not sure if he asked Hashem or if he asked Mashiach himself when he's going to come. But the answer for sure was that Mashiach is going to come when your well springs will spread forth. So Baal Shem Tov was the founder of original Hasidus, which got developed and brought down to simpler terms through Chabad. But yeah, through spreading the well springs of Hasidus, Mashiach will come. But not just that, there's many factors to bring Mashiach. We have to take all the sparks in the world and refine them, even though the Rebbe said collectively that's already been done. Still, everybody has their own personal sparks to elevate in the world. And you elevate sparks by saying blessings on food, brachos, by doing special mitzvahs, by increasing in Ahavas Yisrael, loving your fellow Jew, and the like. And Rabbi Hillel Chazakin said that the entire Torah is loving your fellow as yourself, not doing to others as you wouldn't like done to you. He said this to a person trying to convert. The guy asked him, teach me the Torah on one foot. So he did that, saying that Ahavas Yisrael is the main Torah and the rest is commentary. That being said, we're going to go to continuation from yesterday's class, which is on Loshin hora. But this Sunday we're gonna do chapter 29 and 30 of Shulchan Aruch, and it's going to be a live Zoom class. People are gonna hopefully be there. It's going to be able for people to participate in, and with everybody being prepared to be there at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, they can plan it and be prepared for it, as opposed to now I just Stamazoid just randomly decided to make a class right now. So right now in this Chofetz Chaim book, it has like one lesson per day. I find them to be very short. Using my phone, I think 2 of them are fine. If I don't delve in too deeply, if I delve in too deeply on one day, then I'm gonna finish it on one day. So the Chofetz Chaim starts off for day 12. I think they have 3 cycles of doing this a year. It's interesting. There's day 12, which is of Tishrei, 11th of Shvat, or 11th of Sivan. Leap year, 12th day of Tishrei, 12th of Shvat, and the 1st of Sivan. Anyways, I don't care what the cycle is. I'm just doing it on my own. And it starts off as following. Often a person speaks Loshin hora to elevate his own stature by depreciating others. Thus, he violates the general prohibition against being arrogant. Interesting, Chabad says you should learn Hasidus and everything, and why am I doing this Chofetz Chaim stuff? It's not Hasidus or whatever. But Chabad is also originally started from the Baal Shem Tov, who teaches you to learn from every single person. And this topic right here coincides with Hasidus. If you learn Lamed Beis, chapter 32 of Tanya, it teaches you that you have to prioritize your soul over your body. And if you scorn and contempt your body and prioritize your soul, then you'll realize that every soul is equal and you'll have proper Ahavas Yisrael and love for one another. And if you have such level of service of Hashem, then you're not going to have an ego trip and be arrogant. And you're not going to violate this major sin of speaking evil about another person, whether it's true or not, whether it's Loshin hora or whether it's Motzei Shem Ra. So it's saying here, you're depreciating other to lift yourself up, and you're violating a general prohibition against being arrogant. The oiver nami hamsaper Loshin hora beloved dehi shamer lecha pen tishkach es Hashem Elokecha. Elohecha, I guess. One who speaks Loshin hora also transgresses the prohibition. Take heed, lest you forget Hashem your God. This is in Devarim 8:11. Shehu azhara legasi havruach, which is a warning to arrogant people not to exhibit such behavior. Ikevon shehu malig umisloise al chaveroi. Or since the speaker is ridiculing and mocking his fellow Jew, misa mahu machashiv es atzmoi lechacham uleish be'anashim. He presumably regards himself as being a wise person, a man among men, an example superior to other people. He aya mikir es nige atzmoi. This is self-evident because one who recognizes his own flaws, lo hayam malig machaveroi, would not ridicule his fellow by reporting his fellow's flaws. So one who recognizes his own flaws would not ridicule his fellow by reporting his fellow's flaws. Basically, he's trying to cover up his own blemishes, his own downfall by pointing out someone else's to lift himself up, rather and by bringing the other person down. Mention the sin of arrogance. The Chofetz Chaim expounds on its severity. The Yadua Ma'amer Rabbi Seinu Zichroinim Libracha B'Soita. There is a well-known statement of our sages of blessed memory in Masechta Soita 4b and 5a. She'avoin hagaiva kashet ad me'oid, expressing that the effect of the sin of arrogance is very severe. Kidisa sham. It is stated there as follows: She'avur zeh, as a result of a person's arrogance, eina forui ischias hamesim. His remains will not come to life at the resurrection of the dead. Wow. So they're saying that this is so severe that arrogance can prevent you from having tchias hamesim. That's a very, very severe punishment. Behu ki oiver avoidas koichavin umazalois. He is like a worshiper of idols and constellations. Interesting to say the same thing about anger, that when you get angry, you don't accept that it came from Hashem, and it's compared to serving idols. So if you have arrogance, it's also idol worship. But then again, if you if you go back to Paro, I remember Paro was so arrogant that he said that he made himself and that he's God. So arrogance, you think that you're so high that your importance is higher than God's importance, which is likened to Avodah Zorah. Yalelas of love, and the Shekhinah wails over him. Who nikra toyeva, and he is called an abomination. Ayin sham ba Gemara. See the Gemara there for further elaboration. Ubifrat, speaking Loshin hora out of arrogance is particularly sinful. Im basipur hazeh shel kiloin chaveroi hu mechabed es atzmoi. If someone glorifies himself through speaking despairingly about his fellow, bevadai oiver beloved zeh. In such a case, the speaker certainly violates this prohibition against being arrogant. Milvad ma shekerasuhu rabbeisenu zichrona livrocha beruach kadsham me'olam haba. And in addition to this, the rabbis with their divine inspiration severed him from his share in the world to come. The Amru, as they stated, and Rushami Chagiga 2:1. Is kabed bikloin chaverei ein loy chelik loilam haba. A person who glorifies himself through the degradation of his fellow has no share in the world to come. Someone who speaks or accepts Loshin hora desecrates Hashem's name. V'oiver nami hamisaper v'hamkabel beloved diloi sichalu es shem kadshi. A person who speaks or accepts Loshin hora also transgresses the prohibition. Do not desecrate my holy name. Well, the question is, if you're speaking about your fellow being, how are you desecrating Hashem's name? Ikra 22:32. Because he presumably commits this sin not out of ordinary physical desire, but because of a blatant disregard for the Torah's commandments and the honor of heaven. Again, as we speak in Chassidus, you're regarding your own physical desire over the spiritual. You're focusing on your body over your soul, and by doing this, you're desecrating Hashem's name because you're disregarding the mitzvahs and the kavod of Hashem in Shemayim, in heaven. Acharei she'ein bazeh taiva. Since there is no physical desire to engage in the Loshin hora, v'loi hana gashmis, and there also is no physical benefit gained from it. She'al yidei zeh yizgaber yitzroi alav. It emerges that the ordinary means through which the Yetzer hora generally prevails over a person and causes him to sin. An example of physical desires do not apply to this sin. So you would think that there's no physical pleasure out of speaking Loshin hora. How could you say that? How could you say that you're valuing your body over your soul when there's no physical pleasure out of this? Al kain nechshav ha'oin ha'avoin hazeh kemeres. Kemered ufrikas al malchus. shemayim be'elma. No physical urge to engage in Loshin hora. One who engages in this sin is therefore viewed as though he is committing a blatant act of rebellion against Hashem, and as though he is casting off the yoke of heaven. Interesting. Basically, you're not even having an excuse. When one indulges in food, you could say it tastes good. He couldn't control his urge. But when one is speaking Loshin hora, he's just rebelling against Hashem. Even though he's not going to get benefit, he's going against Hashem anyways. So if you think about it, it's even worse. Thus, a person desecrates Hashem's name with this, engaging in Loshin hora. V'zeh debarnu afilu bistam ish Yisrael. This chil Hashem applies even regarding a person who is an average Jew. Uvifrat im hu ish chashuv. But it is especially applicable if the speaker is a distinguished person. So the chil Hashem doesn't matter if you're a simple Jew or if you're a big rabbi. You're still doing a chil Hashem when you speak Loshin hora. Hakol mistaklin al masav. So whose actions are examined by all. Bivadai mischalel Hashem al yidei zeh, who unquestionably desecrates Hashem's name by engaging in Loshin hora, ve'alachas kama v'chama im haya ha'avera hazois v'rabim. And how much more so is this the case if the transgression was committed publicly? Bevadai shehachet gadol ad me'oid. For the sin is certainly so much more severe. Shenikra mechalel shem shemayim orabim. In that the person is deemed to be one who desecrates Hashem's name publicly. I think I'm just going to do one chapter at a time. And if I want to continue, I'll just do another video afterwards. I'm just going to do another video right after this. Just so when people watch a video, they have a separation point. Everybody, good night. Have a good Shabbos. Please like and subscribe and share to your friends. We're trying to make this Chabad place very holy. Make people use the internet for holiness instead of just a place for video games and indulging in stupidities. That's why everything was created, was so that we could elevate rather than, God forbid, denigrate everything that Hashem gives to us. So may we take this to heart, that when we speak Loshin hora, we're doing so much harm, more than you even know. You're taking off the yoke of Hashem. You're violating arrogance and the like, and it's just terrible. Maybe all be careful about what we speak about. And if we speak, which we don't even have to, try to speak words of Torah, because speaking too much is not good. But if you're speaking words of Torah can never be an overindulgence. L'chaim, everybody have a good Shabbos.